So I do not really have a specific start slide for today because, as I said, I don't really have any new announcements. Today is the 17th. That's what makes it St. Patrick's Day. So I have a reminder on your paper there of the circumference formula. If you need a reminder, you can flip to the back, and the area formula is there as well. Today's date, which I'm going to write in green because it's St. Patrick's Day, is 3/17. Again, Happy Pi Day, since that was earlier this week. I know. That's why I said again, Happy Pi Day.
Well, this is St. Patrick's Day.
Well, Happy St. Patrick's Week. I'm just going to do math. All right, fine, Stella. What should I do first here? Nah, see what you get for talking back? What we should always do first, guys, for this section, I'm going to give you like a get out of jail free card. Write the formula. What you should always do first is write the formula. So the first thing we're going to do, since we're talking about circumference, is write the circumference formula. So we're going to write C equals pi d. Remember, crust equals pi dough. I like to use capital D. You can use lowercase d. It really doesn't make much of a difference. Sorry, this is blurry. There we go. Then we replace, right? Then we substitute. Now, I kind of wish that I'd written this over here, so I'm going to bump over this way to utilize this side of my paper. I replace the C with what they told me my circumference is. 50.24 equals, I replace pi with what they told me we use for pi. Yeah, 3.14. And D we do not know yet. How, my 1A stack of cards. Oh, your guys' names are written in blue. That feels inappropriate today. Martin, how would I get this D by itself? Yeah, divide by. What number do you want to get rid of? This one, right? To get the D by itself, we want to get rid of this number. So that's what we divide by, right? And we do it on both sides, so please write this workout, guys. And if you don't have a calculator, get one, because this math is hard. I couldn't hear that at all, and I wasn't ready to write it down. D equals what now? 16? Like straight up? Holy cow. Luck of the Irish right there. No, I am not Irish. I am really just English. I think I'm a tad Scottish. But wait, that's crap. That's not what we were asked to do. We're trying to find the area. What's the first thing we always do? Formula. Area equals pi times radius squared. Remember, that is not times 2. That is squared. I don't know this. I kind of know that. I don't. Lacey, is there anything I can do right now? I feel kind of stuck.
You have to find the radius by dividing the diameter by 2.
Oh, snap! She threw that down right quick. So if we know the diameter, we can figure out the radius by cutting the diameter in half. So Lacey really over here is like, mental note, radius is 8. Right? So then when we come up here, okay, let's start replacing. Replace your pi with 3.14 if we want to work in decimals. Otherwise, you could leave it just as the pi symbol. Replace your r with 8, and we still got to square it. Area equals either, if we were talking in terms of pi, we would get 64 pi Or if we go ahead and do the multiplication with 3.14, I don't know, because that's hard math. What? 200, oh, we did this, I think we did 64 yesterday, or 64 pi. I think we've done it at some point before. And because it's area, our label.
Yeah, it was the, like, challenge, it was one of the challenge problems.
Units squared. Remember that over here, diameter and radius would have had labels of units. But guys, I will go ahead and confess, since these aren't our answer, I don't actually care if you put labels on those. I call those our working numbers. Those numbers still have a job to do. They don't need to put their label on until they're like done doing their job. And we actually look at like, okay, at the end, what are you? So we know this would be 8 units and 16 units because our label is just units. When we are done, we would either need to label this 64 pi units squared or 200.96 units squared. We gotta have the label when we finish. Yes.
I thought it was funny. You probably did this on purpose, but the 2 challenge problems from Monday are the warm-up problems for today.
I did do this on purpose. If you already did them, get out those notes. Yep, totally on purpose.
And I already did the first one, but I was like, this seems oddly familiar, but then I didn't realize it.
Yep,
Until
totally on purpose. We'll come back to this one at the end of class if we have time. For now, we're going to move on to this stuff. If you don't have highlighters, you're going to want at least 2.
I also came across that problem when I was doing Con the other day.
Yeah, yep. All right, so the first vocab word we need to talk about today is called arc length. Now, on Con, the assignment is called like circumference of parts of a circle or something like that. But what they're talking about is arc length. An arc, a curve, right? But we call it specifically an arc. I'll help you, dude. We call it specifically an arc because it stays equidistant from one point. So if you're like in a workout class or whatever, they tell you to make an arc. So pull both of them. Oh, gravity. Sorry, I would help you, man, but COVID. I don't want to have to wipe stuff off. So, arc length is talking specifically about for circles, right? Otherwise, we can talk about like different curves and things like that. Are you all right? Yeah, I know that hurts. So, this problem is entirely done out for you, except you could highlight this. And then over here, that is the distance of our answer. So check it. Here's our process. I'm going to zoom in and go a step at a time. Step 1, well, because here they don't give us the radius and we know to find area of a circle, we're going to need radius. We go ahead and say, okay, what is our radius? Because our diameter is 8, our radius will be 4. And they go ahead and show out the work of 8 divided by 2 is 4. I went ahead and put that there just so you guys have one problem completely done out for you. The second step is imagination land. So we imagine that we have a whole circle. So this is for the if we had the whole circle. We just treat it like normal. Don't do anything funky. Now, wait a minute. Nobody caught me when I said it. I said area. We're not doing area yet. We could use the diameter. This is not, if I did this on purpose because this is what Con is going to show you if you click the Help Me button in Con. We could also say pi times d, right? Which we know the diameter is 8. Guys, to find circumference, we don't need the radius. We actually don't need to do step 1. The reason I left this here is when we flip to the back, and when we do this for area, we always need the radius, right? But I decided this year, this was literally a decision I made this year for you guys, I wanted us to very much separate circumference and area. And circumference, you can use radius. We can use this choice of formula. But guys, we can also use pi d, right? Because we said we know crust is pi dough. So if we do that, it's just 8 times pi. Oh, hey, look, that's our answer. Diameter times pi. So our circumference, we know if the circle was full, and we can go ahead and label it C, is just 8 pi. So either put a C over here or rewrite the whole thing. Our circumference is 8 pi. Guys, do not multiply using 3.14 yet, because you'll make your life harder. Guys, remember, I'm here to make your life easier. That is honestly my goal, why I became a math teacher, is to help you guys be able to think better and make your life easier. Don't multiply by 3.14 yet. It makes the numbers more difficult to work with. We now come over to step 3. And we say, okay, if I'm looking for half of the circle, oh wait, I know what of says. Of says multiply. So half of the circle takes half and multiplies by your circle. Guys, this is the same whether we're doing circumference or area. You literally just take the fraction that we have, use your calculator. Now, I did not put the simplified form of this because I wanted us to make sure that we put a label on it too. What does 8 over 2 pi reduce down to? 4 pi. And then did we have a label over there in our circle? I don't think so. So what's our default label? Units. Just units because we're just doing circumference right now, right? Just units because we're just doing circumference right now. Here's your challenge for the next 5 minutes. The next 3 problems, and if you want, loop back up to the other challenge problem up here from yesterday. But be careful. I want you guys to decide what formula you want to use. So start by writing out the formula that you're going to use. So if you're using C equals pi d, I would right now write that beneath each of these to start your process. And actually, the first thing I would do is probably separate this to keep your paper clean. So if I was you, I would probably just Gotta make sound effects. It makes everything better. One of my favorite sound effects ever is the Jetsons car. Or I don't even know if you can call it car. They're like hovercraft. Oh my gosh, what's the Jetsons? It's a show about the future, but it's made in the past. And I think I'm going to have to play the intro for you guys now.
Sad.
Yeah, I'm going to have to play the intro now. I just want to make sure you're all working. Guys, write your formula first for all 3 of them.
I found out that my family didn't know what the Flintstones was. What? I was like, wait, what is the hell is that?
That's like not knowing what the color green is.
I know. What is the color green? I know. That's like, I've never heard of it. No, yeah, ever.
What are you doing? Oh, you're just getting that to make lines? Everything in there should be wiped off, by the way, when people put stuff back. So you're totally fine to wipe off anything you want to, but that stuff should be clean when we start. And guys, I'm actually going to split each of these sections in half because there's kind of 2 stages to this work. Right, like there is acting like the circle's whole, and then there is finding the portion of the circle. And guys, my argument for our step 1 up here, find the radius or diameter. If you would rather work with the diameter instead of radius, we could find diameter. So like in this first problem, if I'm using my formula C equals pi d, I have to find my diameter. Guys, don't be afraid to write inside the circle. Don't be afraid to draw stuff inside the circle. And guys, as we start to get comfortable with this, I know our mnemonic device is crust equals pi dough. But remember yesterday we talked about we could actually write it diameter times pi and it's the same. That would actually make your life a tad bit easier. And that's what I'm here to do. So we put our number in front of the pi, It's a little bit easier than putting our number after the pi. I promise, I am still giving you the 5 minutes. Just look up if you want to. I split this into 2 columns, and my second column is going to be used to calculate the amount of the circumference that I'm trying to find. So I'm going to make a little note. In this problem, I'm trying to find 3/4 of the normal circle. I should probably change colors, even though it's St. Patrick's Day. In this second circle, we're trying to find 1/4 of the circumference is our arc. Hey Nate. So be careful with asserting your opinions, because remember, it's all about different cultures. So, while I am not Irish, I respect the fact that this is mainly an Irish holiday celebrated by other people as well. It's like when Americans try to celebrate like Cinco de Mayo or Chinese New Year. Like, it's not our holiday. So don't pass judgment on other people when it's not your culture, right? Does that make sense? I know, but did you hear how it sounded? Yeah. So just be careful how we let things sound. Always try to say it in your head first, right? That keeps things a bit safer. All right, random cards. Here we go. This is what I know. What I hear is, yeah! See, there we go. I like how I heard no and yeah at the same time, and they just blended, and it was great. Stella, if our radius over here is 5, what is our diameter? 10. Diameter is 10, but yeah, so I got it. You were thinking, and then you just said the answer. So, if I pop down here and fill in my diameter, darn hole punch, I get 10 pi pi times 10 or 10 pi. So now I'm going to bump over here and say if I'm trying to find 3/4 of that, it's actually 3/4 of, guys, I use parentheses. I don't know, I use parentheses like I use shoes. Like, they're just good. They're just important. They help you out. That's probably not a good analogy. I wear shoes like all the time, right? I use parentheses like all the time. Check it though. This, if you don't want to grab your calculator, put 10 over 1. And really like 10 pi goes over 1. So this can really become 30 pi over 4. Or we could go ahead and say, what's 10 times 3? What's 3/4 of 10? 7.5, right? You guys got the calculators? If we do it as a decimal, I mean, I guess I still haven't gotten my calculator out. .55 units. Any questions here? Are you using 3.14 or the pi button? Yeah, you're not supposed to. We talked about this yesterday. So, all right, hold on. To reiterate, because maybe I didn't explain this very well back on Monday. If you're doing math just for you, use whatever you want. But when we're doing math together, trying to get answers we agree upon, your pi button in your calculator may have a different amount of decimals than the pi button in somebody else's calculator. So we use 3.14 to get answers we agree on. You can independently use your pi button if you want to. Does that make sense? So when you own your own engineering firm, that's because your bad attitude probably led you to doing it wrong. Well, you've been yelling no, and you've been pouty about things, and now you got the answer wrong. So see what happens?
Well, I didn't think 7.5 was a number.
Oh, so you didn't trust me?
No.
I see how it works.
Literally not what I said. None of those words came out of my mouth.
It's not what comes out of your mouth. It's the feeling, the sentiment. I didn't know I was going to have my feelings hurt on St. Patrick's Day, but here we are. I'm 100% just messing with you, Stella. Just putting it out there to make sure. I think you know, but I am totally just messing with you. Isaiah, if here in this circle, the radius is shown to be 8, what would our diameter be? Yeah, 16, because we know to get our diameter, we double our radius. So then if we come down here to circumference, if the circle was all there, it should be 16 pi. Units, of course, right? But this is a working number. We're still not done. So now we ooh, this one might be easier. I didn't say easy. I said easier, because look, 16 and 4. Ooh, I think they work together kind of nicely. At least nicer than over here. So when I set up 1/4, you're good, man. I know easy is a bad word. Easier. I should say nicer. These numbers are going to get along better. So remember, this is multiplication. I kind of wrote it very obvious here. Over here, I didn't write it at all. It doesn't matter if you put the multiplication dot or not. Either way, we have 1/4 of 16 of pi. Well, these work together really nicely. What's 1/4 of 16? 4. Oh, yeah. 4. Ooh, wait, I still need my pi. 4 pi units, right? Yeah, they try to make some things easier for you. If we do the multiplication, 12 point something, I think. 12.56. That's definitely wrong. Yeah, I was about to say, let's analyze, because that sounds to be almost double what you should have. So, everyone check your work. Are we good here? Or does anyone have any questions? Let's do this. If you haven't done the last one, do it on your own. I'm going to do it up here, but not say anything. Check it after you get it done. Okay? Guys, even if it's not useful, I always notate both the radius and the diameter. I always make sure that I've got both of those notated in my circle. Any preguntas? Yes? Preguntas. Questions in Spanish. It's one of my favorite Spanish words. I also like verde, which is green in Spanish. I like any word where you can roll the R. Let's just be honest. The rolled R is fun. Verde. Probably me, because I'm turning into one because my vaccine, right? Isn't that the rumor that the vaccine will turn you into a lizard? I mean, we had a bearded dragon that I thought was pretty cool. Not we like me, but like friends and actually some guys in my dorm when I was in RA got a snake, and I had to make them take it back. Well, so do I, but you're not allowed to have one in a dorm because what if it gets out? And can you imagine if you're like somebody down the hall from the guy with the snake, and out of your heat vent comes a snake, and you're like taking a nap, and you're like, ah, anaconda.
Yeah, be absolutely terrified. I would move to another state.
So, we really only have one formula for area that we normally use. I will be honest with you guys and say, because, by the way, I'm always honest with you. Like, if we haven't talked about this, I kind of pride myself on shooting straight and being honest. If you wanted to make another formula, we could say, well, the radius is the diameter divided by 2. This is true, but it's more complicated. It's more opportunity to make a mistake. I don't like that. No. So we're just going to start by finding the radius always, right? It makes life easier to just always start by finding the radius. So step 1 here, there's actually like a step 0, right? Step 0 is make sure you've got the radius. Now, what I don't like about this image is because how it printed, if you can't tell, these are shaded 2 different ways. So this is your radius. The 6 is your radius. Yeah, so in case you can't tell. So if you want to label this is also 6. So, step 1, now that we did step 0. Step 1, if the circle was a full circle. So guys, if you want to rewrite the work, because it is pretty small, we do pi r squared. That turns into pi times 6 squared. And we change the order just to make life a little bit nicer. We say 36 pi, and it would be units squared. But again, working number, so we don't have to put a label on it. Are there questions on how I found the area of the full circle, quote unquote? Because the full circle doesn't exist. Hey, here, come here. Take this. And then keep yours, do the back on yours, but then you got the front. You got mine just done for you. And then I'll email you the video later. Good to see you, Natalie. Those are pretty sweet. I hear I'm supposed to call things drippy these days. I'm glad you guys agree with me. I think that's a dumb word. I agree. Drippy is bad because drippy means like something's leaking. Like all of Texas is drippy right now because they all have like their pipes burst. So like not in a good way, but like I have a friend who lives in Texas and we were texting and I was joking. I'm like, is all of Texas drippy? And he's like, you're not funny. So it's like when you're living through it, I shouldn't make the joke because there's a lot of people in bad situations, but a lot of plumbers have gone down there to help them out. So when people look at like, what are you going to do after high school? Like plumbing and electrical like are really important careers. And I think we've kind of seen that a lot through the pandemic. So Natalie, thank you for joining us. Can anyone give a quick catch up of what we've been doing today? Hold on. Lily sounds serious. Let's all listen to just Lily. Let her sum it up to Natalie. Yeah, absolutely. We've been learning how to find not full circles. So the whole front that I handed you, Natalie, is us doing partial circumferences that we call arc length. So you've got all my notes done on the front. We're on the back now doing partial areas. So we looked at this circle right here. This is all done out for you. So we're right here at if this was a full circle, its area would be 36 pi units squared. However, it's not a full circle. It's a half circle. So we're going to have to come over here and do the work for half of the circle, which half of, we know, says, well, multiply. Or you could divide. Because remember, multiplication and division are like really close cousins. If you want to just divide by 2, we could, big old or, well, not big old or, but we could also take our 36 pi and divide it by 2, because that's another way that we can half things. Yes. Yes, absolutely. And back here, I was even nice enough to give you the answer. The answer, and I put it in a boulder box. The answer here comes out to be 18 pi units squared. Or if we multiply, we use 3.14, and we would get 56.52 units squared because it's area. It's the same thing, except now using the different formula. Using area instead of circumference. All right, let's do it then. So do these three. You got 5 minutes. Do these three. I don't know. It depends when you started counting. You could always say it's been 15 minutes since 15 minutes ago. I mean, right? I like being not wrong. It's almost like being right. I think she'd be a great math teacher. Wait, that means I'm not? Ouch.
You are the second best. You are the least, not bad math teacher I've had. You're the funniest math teacher I've had.
Wait, least not bad?
You're the least not bad. Wait,
Least not bad means I'm not good. I'm the least good.
You are the least bad math teacher I've had.
I'm just gonna do math to at least get us to stop saying things that I think hurt my feelings, I think. Double, triple, quadruple negatives are hard for me to follow because, you know, math is hard. Oh, well, thank you, Nate. I would split your page up. I just, there's a lot of work and a lot of things to do. If you can write small and do all of this, like, in one stack vertically, I guess you don't have to split your page, but I would. Always start with the formula. Always, always, always start with the formula. I'm going to write them all in green because St. Patrick's Day. And guys, I don't mean start with the formula once for 3 different problems. I mean start with the formula in every space you're going to be doing your work. Yeah, and double check that we're writing down the right formula. Double check, do we have the radius? Oh. All of these are convenient. We have all the radiuses here. We don't need to find diameter, so I'm not going to because I don't want to confuse anyone. But, like, again, we could just double the radiuses if we needed to. But, yeah, they give us radiuses, 2, 8, and 4. Now, what's interesting is these circles are all different sizes, but they're all even numbers. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of interesting when I was making the notes. I was like, oh, these will be fun. But also, this is half of the circle. This is a fourth of the circle. And this is 3/4. Yeah, I make every sheet of paper I give you, I made. This font is called Acme, like the where they order anvils and dynamite on the crap. What is it? Roadrunner. Acme is like a company in the Roadrunner cartoons where you can order dynamite from. But that's what the font is. I like it. This is my font that I choose. I do screenshots, but then I type out everything I want to. I know what I need you guys to. So, if we haven't talked about this yet, I have figured out the way for us to fit in everything we need to just in time for the state test. So, yes, we are following Khan Academy, but with my foot on the gas pedal. If that makes sense. April 20th. Alright, our radius is 2. Hey, it doesn't matter. I will have you prepared. You will be ready. It will be fine. Like, you don't need to worry about it. I got you. Alright. Area equals pi times radius squared. Ah, crap. I wish I had written radius squared times pi because that would just make my life easier. So now I'm going to flip around this order. I know that 2 squared is 4. And I'm going to go ahead and write this out as pi times 4. But then I'm going to switch it around because it's nicer if the number comes first. So we're going to say 4 pi. That would be the area if the circle was whole. Now we got to look at the portion. Anyone pay attention in the notes that I typed for you what a portion of a circle's area is called? It's a sector. So for the sector of our circle, well, this sector is how much of the circle? Sure looks to be half of it. So 1/2 of 4 pi. What's half of 4? 2. 2 pi units squared. I always put an A equals. So this, remember, A always means area. So it's area of whatever we're talking about. So what we're actually talking about up here is the half circle. So remember, this was like a for the moment area. Our real final answer is that area is equal to 2 pi units squared. Hey, we all agreed that you would make a great math teacher while you were gone. Yeah, Nate brought it up and we all agreed. There you go. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was 12. If your brain likes this better, sorry, I realize I only have 4 minutes left. If your brain likes this better, think about the sector first. So 1/4 of the circle, right? So I'm going to go ahead and write down 1/4 and just put my parentheses. But then we got to act like the circle is an entire circle. Guys, like I said, I like it better if the number comes first. So I'm going to go ahead and think about my area formula as radius squared times the pi. So, what is our radius here? 8, thank you. So 8 squared, oh, we've done 8 a few times. What is 8 squared? 64 pi. This is also why I chose even numbers. 8 times 8 is 64. Ooh, we got to dig out. What is 64 divided by 4? Cut it in half, then cut it in half again. Yeah, so 16 pi units squared would be the area of our sector over here. Do the final one if you haven't done it yet. And only look up here as you're ready to check your work. Well, then try it again. Don't just accept thinking that you did it wrong. Man, as you guys are discussing breakfast, I sure hope that we're doing the math to practice. Can we do it on our own? So sometimes to find like 3/4, it's easier to think about 1/4 and then triple it. So like, what's 1/4 of 16? 4, and then 3 of those. Okay, 12 pi units squared.
So I got it right. I just did it wrong.
I don't know if you did it wrong if you got it right. What do you mean? What did you do?
I did the multiply.
Yeah?
Okay. I still got the same answer, but I didn't just divide.
What do you mean you didn't just divide? Did you just, in your calculator, do 16 pi times 3/4?
No.
Okay, what'd you do? Because I think you did it right.
I did 48. Because I did 16 over 1 times 3/4.
Yeah, that gives you 12.
Yeah. And then I got 48/4, and then I divided that.
That's 12.
Okay.
You did it right.
I heard that teachers back then used to slap people.
Back then,
They weren't rulers, they were pilots.
or yardsticks.
My grandma got hit by one of those.
Right? That? No. Why would people do that?
Because they're mean.
That's so. What apparently happened, is nuns. Now, don't like. I keep saying apparently because I don't know if this is true. Okay? Nuns would make you put your hands on the desk and they would smash the top of your fingers. To some Pal, teach you a lesson? What is that supposed to teach you? Lazy?
My papa went to a Catholic school and they did do that to him, but he also ran away from school multiple times, like
Well, that's
constantly.
probably why he ran away.
And so he had, so not only did he have to get like smacked on the like hands, but
He probably got paddled too, didn't he?
probably, and he also was chased around the school by guns when he would
Oh my
escape.
gosh.
And he had to be like tied to the bus.
Oh my gosh. Hey, that was louder than I anticipated, so my bad. Just trying to use an example of forces. So that was energy. Actually, relating back to Monday when you saw those people teach. That was energy turning into sound, right? But think about it. That energy going into your fingers, ouch. That would not be cool. The science of abuse.
My grandpa was one of the, well, my great something grandpa was one of the people, was one of the natives taken to a Catholic school
What?
or whatever. And then there, like my family always says that he got put in this little like jail thing looking thing, and it's really little.
Oh my gosh. Now I know the movie Matilda has
Oh
a
yeah.
little thing called the Chokey.
Yeah, with the like
That looks
spikes.
terrifying.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was like that. I think it was just a little like.
Like you had it.
She would also throw children out of the school, which I thought was insane.
I remember she grabbed
Yeah, that was a little bit of movie magic, hopefully.